Good morning and welcome to the Future of Real Estate. I'm Brett Ellis of the Ellis Team at RE/MAX Realty Group. You can always reach us at 239-489-4042. Don't forget our website, which is topagent.com. If you haven't joined us before, you're in for a real treat. On this show, we talk about real estate issues affecting you. We offer tips and insight you won't get anywhere else. Now, each week we present you with our hot properties of the week. We're probably going to do that a little bit later on in the show because we do have a special guest for you today. Now, when we do that, if you hear about a property that sounds interesting, agents are standing by right now. All you got to do is give us a call. Like I said, 239-489-4042. If you're a seller and you like your home featured here, you can call us too. Being featured on this radio show, I should say, and listed with the Ellis Team is great exposure and just another example of the many ways we make your home stand out from the crowd. Our phone number again is 239-489-4042. By the way, to our radio show listeners, this show is being broadcast on 3 radio stations, simulcast, and we also do this in video. So if you hear about something that sounds interesting, or if we're talking about a property and you want to see pictures of it, or if we're sharing a graph, or perhaps today's News Press article, we're going to show it online to our watchers, our TV watchers, viewers, and you can tune into the show. Just simply go to topagent.com and there'll be a player right there. You can just click on it and you can watch it. And I think this week we're going to do something different. We're going to basically segment the show into like 6 different segments. You don't have to watch the whole show, and we'll kind of menu them what they are. So when we get to, for instance, the legal portion, if you want to watch those segments, you can watch that. If you want to watch mostly the listing, you can do that. Or a lot of the other real estate issues affecting you, you can tune in and see what those are. So simply go to topagent.com, probably the only one website you need to know. Our special guest today is Sean Ellis. Sean is a senior associate in the Fort Myers office of Retzel and Andres, a national firm with 11 offices in Florida, Ohio, and Washington, D.C. Now, Sean focuses his practice in the area of condominium and community association law, representing associations and their boards in a broad area of legal issues, including day-to-day board operation and governance, statutory compliance, and covenant enforcement. He is also experienced in the conversion of marina condominiums. We call those docominiums, I think. Sean was the first attorney in the Fort Myers area to receive the LEED AP designation from the U.S. Green Building Council. Sean is going to speak a little bit today about required insurance for unit owners and related concerns to a condominium association and its board. Sandy, I think we're going to learn something today.
Well, I get that idea. That's great.
Yeah, because this is a common question we get.
Yes.
So I just want to pose it to Sean, who's our expert. Sean, what are the insurance requirements for condominium unit owners?
Well, this has become a hotter topic recently, and we get this question a lot due to recent changes in the law over the last year or two. By way of background, you have to understand first what is required of a condominium association. Generally speaking, in a condominium, you're dealing with common elements, the bricks and mortar of the building, etc., that are covered by a master association insurance policy. Florida law requires then individual unit owners to obtain their own policy of insurance, and that will cover, if you ask an insurance agent, they'll tell you it covers everything from the paint in, fixtures, personal property, floor, wall coverings, cabinets, countertops, that sort of thing. But in addition, and more important to associations, is that it covers also, it's a policy of hazard and liability insurance, and it basically not only fills in the gaps of the master association policy, covering things that are not covered by the association's policy, but it's a coverage that's required to be in excess of those items that are covered by the master association policy. So the association is concerned with damage and liability of a unit owner first and foremost, and the policy, often referred to as an HO6 policy, is meant to cover that.
I got a lot more questions to ask you, but one comes to my mind right off. If I don't have a mortgage, I'm typically not required to have insurance as part of my mortgage. So if I own a single-family home and I decide I want to self-insure my home, I don't really have to go get homeowners insurance. And if someone gets hurt on my property, or if the thing burns down or a hurricane wipes it away, I'm just out the money. I'll have to rebuild it myself if I choose to do that. But if I live in an association, can I self-insure, or the law says otherwise?
Well, we're talking about condos here and not single-family homes, but in condos, the law does require you to have this condominium policy. It's the HO6 policy is not the same as, say, an individual owner's policy that you would have for a single-family home, where you obtain it in full replacement value of your home. So it's not necessarily the all-out full replacement value type of coverage. You can get it in smaller amounts. It wouldn't necessarily be nearly as expensive. But the bottom line is that the Condominium Act does require unit owners to have this hazard and liability
See, I
coverage.
bet we learned something right there.
Well, yeah, and this wasn't always required, was it? I mean, I can remember years that we actually sold condominiums, and at that point in time, they did not have to have this insurance. So,
Well, the recent statutory amendments in the last year and the year before that were really meant to clarify existing law. Practically speaking, no, it was not necessarily required, but there's a lot of opinion out there that it has always been a requirement, and now it's just being enforced in a different way. There's actually been some other efforts to further clarify this law, and even in last year's legislative session, a bill was passed to make some changes to this individual insurance law, but that bill was vetoed. So as of now, this is the law.
So does a unit owner need to provide proof of this coverage to the association?
Yes, upon the association's request. The way the Condominium Act reads is that the association shall, from time to time, but no more than once a year, request a certificate of insurance from the unit owner that they have this current hazard and liability insurance coverage. Then the unit owner has 30 days to provide that certificate of insurance. Now, if the unit owner does not provide that certificate within 30 days, the association may actually force place a coverage of insurance in the unit on the unit owner's behalf and pay for and get it themselves.
Now, why would an association want to force place or purchase this coverage on behalf of an individual unit owner?
Well, as I said before, the association may not necessarily be concerned about and certainly would not insure contents of a unit owner, but the association is concerned about things like damage. A common question and a common incident, as an example, are things like a water leak. You know, if your water heater may bust in a condominium unit and then water leaks out of the unit into the common elements between the walls, down into an adjacent unit, etc. Those types of the origin of the water leak came from something that was a unit owner's responsibility and is supposed to be insured under the unit owner's HO6 policy. But in addition, the damage to the common elements and the damage to the neighboring unit owner should also be covered by the policy, and that's why the policy is required to be excess coverage over the master association policy, and that way the association can ask the owner to file a claim to cover that damage.
or what if he had a lot of damage? What if he even had, like, say, fire damage that didn't destroy the whole building, but maybe it did the outside, or where you could see you could see the problem, but maybe the person didn't feel they had enough money to fix it. So in fact, they would actually be bringing down the value of the whole condominium because of what their unit looked like if they didn't do the repairs.
You could have a guy upstairs in his bathtub,
yeah.
self-insuring.
Yeah.
He drowns in the bathtub. He had
Yeah.
every intention of paying for any damage he ever did, but now that he drowned, he's no longer here. The unit below says, hey, somebody's responsible, but they'd have to sue his estate. It gets complicated.
I think this is a little bit beyond, isn't it?
No, hey, this stuff happens.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is,
Had one just last week, huh?
not that, but we could tell you some stories. But so in other words, this is a good law, a good rule to have in place because crazy things happen in life. And, when you're in a condom, you're sharing things. You're sharing common walls. You're sharing a lot of things. And, everyone ought to do their part. For instance, I know, like, this particular condominium association where they're townhomes in South Fort Myers, and one unit got termites or needed a roof. Well, the other 3 units didn't really want to treat the termites because times were tough. Well, it's a little bit hard. You can do it to treat just one unit when all 4 need it. You should really tent the whole building, but all 4 didn't want to do it or couldn't get agreement. Or maybe times aren't tough, but you got one stodgy owner that says, I'm not doing anything to cooperate because I don't like my neighbors. Well, there are times when law has to prevail because for the common good of everyone. Because sometimes all people aren't rational, are they? I mean, they just aren't. They're not rational in single-family homes. They're not going to be rational in condominiums.
So you're relating that back to the reason that the association should require them to have insurance, but the insurance wouldn't cover the termite damage.
No, but I'm just saying you need rules because people don't always act rationally.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Tell you what, you're watching The Future of Real Estate and listening to The Future of Real Estate presented by the Ellis Team at RE/MAX. We need to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk more with Sean about legal issues and a lot of other good stuff, so stay tuned.